pushing back. Or maybe the entire world just found out something. Maybe all of the leaders found out that the world is going to end in a dramatic end scene with an asteroid hitting Earth, and there's only going to be certain places that the scientists say that are livable. And we're going through a giant debris field of a Class 2 gas giant, and most places are going to be decimated. So the places that aren't decimated, they need to go grab that land. Who knows? Hypotheticals, right?
So this video might be a little all over the place because it's a large all-encompassing theory I'm putting forward. Well, I'm going to cover the 5 different ways that we can see the axis of the Earth has tilted. That includes the sun, the moon, the stars, the shadow line of the sunrise moving across the Earth at an angle, and sun rising at 2:30 or 2:45 a.m. in some places. And that tilt of the axis of the Earth could be affected by, as he said, a Class 2 gas giant. And he used that specific terminology because that was the criteria of a government preparation program, like a drill and a training operation that was the basis of their training operation. And so first we're going to go over some of the ways. It's going to be a little all over the place. I got about 3 or 4 different angles I got to come at this from to show you all of the supporting evidence that shows the 5 different ways you can see the axis of the Earth has tilted. And that probably correlates with plasma fire. And all of this combined, even just plasma fire alone, explains why they might run operations like the C19 operation and the fake war. Y'all saw the C19 operation, a worldwide coordination and operation of different governmental agencies as if there's a worldwide governing body that exercised its power and authority. And you know, a lot of that was theater. Well, so is this war. I'll show you a few different instances where they've used the commander-in-chief of the Ukrainian armed forces has tweeted out at least twice video game footage from Arma 3 claiming that it was wartime footage. I'll also show you the mainstream news network in Israel showing video of a downed TIE fighter from Star Wars with stormtroopers leaning up next to it, airing that as video footage as if it's coming from the war in Ukraine. I'll show you soldiers, citizens in Ukraine that are taking up arms and they're actually holding wooden guns. And this is all a calling card to show people that are in the know or becoming initiated that things are not what they appear to be. Here, let me show you. The stormtroopers from the wartime footage. The Arma 3 video game from the wartime footage. The Ukrainian citizens that are taking up arms, holding wooden pieces that are shaped like guns. This world-changing event that we are going through explains why they would do a dry run for worldwide martial law. That's what C19 was, and the couple of countries that didn't go along with it, like Tanzania and Zimbabwe, whose president said, we threw out that C19 test. We used it on some motor oil and a papaya fruit and a goat, and everything came up positive, so we threw out the test. Those presidents disappeared real quick. They weren't going along with the worldwide cooperation. And remember, suppressing the knowledge of plasma fire postpones the need to implement worldwide martial law, because if people saw what's going on, they wouldn't pay their taxes, they wouldn't follow the laws, and it would be necessary to implement worldwide martial law. I'm also going to cover what appears to be a potential counterintelligence propaganda operation trying to conceal the fact that you can see the moon is illuminated on the bottom. Half moon used to be right half and left half, not top half and bottom half. And concealing these things from the public prolongs the duration where we can have a functioning society, because as soon as the general public becomes aware of what's going on, it's lockdown. And that's what they practiced during the C19. Lockdown. Cooperation between all these government agencies to a degree that we have never seen, and cooperation in them locking down and controlling their populations. with something the magnitude of plazfire and potentially a celestial body like Planet X, Nibiru, this Class 2 gas giant, possibly tugging on our pole, and that's why you can see the 5 different ways in which the axis of the Earth has tilted. Within that context, it explains why they would fake a war, fake a demic, and possibly fake a Project Bluebeam alien invasion. It's one great big festering neon distraction. I have a suggestion. It's to keep you all occupied. Learn to swim. That's from the song Enema by Tool, where it says, some say the end is near, some say we'll see Armageddon soon. Some say a comet will fall from the sky, followed by meteor showers and tidal waves, followed by fault lines that cannot sit still, followed by millions of dumbfounded dipshits, and some say the end is near. Those millions of dumbfounded dipshits need to be kept in the dark about these things, or it's worldwide martial law. But in order to get some people read in and up to speed on what's really going on, they insert these things like the Arma 3 video game footage, like the downed stormtroopers in their TIE fighter, like the wooden guns. So when someone's being initiated, you can show them, look, things aren't as they appear. Here, let me show you. You show them the 3 instances I've just referenced that I'm about to show you, and maybe a couple more, and they go, okay, what's really going on here? Obviously, you've shown me enough that it's not a real war as we understand war. And then you can get them up to speed on what's actually going on, and they can come to terms with the situation and participate and play their part accordingly once they get... It's like a calling card, a business card. These things they've inserted, the video game footage, the downed stormtroopers, the wooden guns, this is a calling card and a business card. In order to get someone initiated and up to speed on what's really going on, you have to show them what's not going on, which is the things as they appear on TV. Here, let me show you some parts that'll bring you up to speed and let you see that that's a lot of theatrics. Keep this all in mind, and we're going to go through some of these other parts. This is a video from Mr. MB3 over 6 years ago, August 31st, 2018, titled, Has the Moon Really Tilted 90 Degrees, or is it our perspective from Earth?
Friday, August 31st, 8 a.m. Mountain Time, 2018. Looking at the moon from southeast Phoenix. This is video number 2 of a 2-part series. As of the last couple of weeks, I've been getting many inquiries about the moon possibly tilting, looking different, from people all over the world. So what I've done is taken a look at the video, comparing it to the screenshot just simply at moongiant.com, which is a very good website for moon information. Today you can see we're at a 77% illumination, wanting gibbous. And the illumination always changes. Should the orientation of the moon change with regard to a tilt? Well, if you look at the picture, and granted, it's a picture of the moon appears different from the Earth all the time. It depends on perspective, whether it's day or night. There's a lot of factors involved. But as you can see, what we're looking at today, compared to the picture at Moon Giant, the Tycho crater in the Moon Giant photograph at the website is at the 6 o'clock position. In this video, you're seeing the Tycho crater at the 9 o'clock position, which would imply a 90-degree tilt to the right. That's what we're seeing today, right now, as I do this video. It does not match perfectly with Moon Giant, or at least their still shot of the moon. We only see one side of the moon. As far as ever seeing the backside, no. But our perspective of the side of the moon that we do see does change from time to time based on illumination. But as far as it tilting like this, it does appear that it, at least right now, has tilted to the right 90 degrees. As far as the second moon,
So in typical MB3 fashion, he shows you, acknowledges, yes, it does appear that it's rotated 90 degrees, but the title is, or is it our perspective from Earth? And I've shown you, I'll show you again, 5 different ways where you can see it is our perspective from the Earth. It's not the moon that tilted 90 degrees, it's the Earth, and you can see it in the sun, moon, and stars, the shadow line of the Earth as it goes, as the sun rises, and the fact that the sun rises at 2 a.m., you can see the same 90-degree tilt in all of those places. And in typical MB3 fashion, he shows you what there is to see, that yes, it does appear it's 90 degrees off, but you know, it changes all the time with the lighting and it moves in the sky. You know, it could be just your perspective. And he's doing that to pacify those millions of dumbfounded dipshits from forcing us to implement worldwide martial law if they catch on to what's going on. So I appreciate his way of presenting these things and downplaying it for the people who need something to pacify them. This is a video that was posted 13 years ago titled 1 Year of the Moon in 2.5 minutes. Don't pay so much attention to the actual moon wobbling back and forth. Pay attention to the light line. Half moon is tilted, the light line of the half moon is not tilted any further than 45 degrees. A sliver moon, a half moon, the light line provides what we've always known. Left half illuminated or right half illuminated and slightly tilted to one side or another, never further than 45 degrees. These days we see a smiley face moon where the bottom part is lit, and the opposite, where the top part is lit. And it is because the axis of the Earth has tilted. In this video, I'm going to quickly go over the 5 ways in which you can see that the axis of the Earth has tilted. You can see it in the sun, the moon, and the stars, along with the shadow line of the sunrise going across the Earth, and the fact that the sun was rising at about 2:30 a.m. in some places. However long ago I made this video. I think it was over this last summer, a few months back. In this video that I'm going to link in the description, not going to go over all of it right now, I'm going to just try and breeze over this quickly, because right now is the time when you can see the 3 kings of Orion's belt rise in the sky about a half hour to an hour after sunset. And it's only visible like this for a couple of months. Besides that, the rest of the year, the other 9 to 10 months out of the year, you cannot witness what you can right now, with the 3 kings of Orion's belt rising vertically on the horizon just after sunset, and in the morning you can see them on the other horizon horizontally. They have turned over 90 degrees. In this video that I'll link in the description, titled "Your Redemption Draws Near When These Signs in the Heavens Appear," Mr. MB3 shows on multiple occasions how these sunspots, here you can see them along the left side horizontal row of sunspots, at 7 a.m. By 4 p.m., that same row of sunspots has moved up here to the 2 o'clock position. Earlier in the day at 7 a.m., they were at the 9 o'clock position. They've moved over 90 degrees in less than 12 hours. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. In 9 hours, they've moved about 120 degrees. From the 8:30 position, they're below the 9 o'clock position on the left, and they're at about the 2 o'clock position on the right. Over 90 degrees in 9 hours. I show you in this video, I make a demonstration using this lid and this pill bottle, showing that when it's on this side, when the Earth, that lid represents the equatorial plane of the Earth, not a flat Earth, a round Earth. Your visual reference when you look across the surface of the earth and see the sun or the moon or the stars rising is that of a plane. And that plane of the lid that I'm using, when it's tilted at a 45-degree angle, you see the vertical pill bottle sitting there looks like it's tilted 45 degrees to the right, but it's vertical. It's sitting flat on the table. In reference to the lid, it appears to be 45 degrees to the right. And then on the other horizon, it appears to be tilted 45 degrees to the left. Combine those two, that's the pill bottle is the sun, moon, and stars as they go over at night, creating an appearance of a 90-degree rotation from when they're on one side to where they're on the other. You can see that right now with the three kings of Orion's belt shift 90 degrees as they go across from one side to the other. You can see that with the half moon. I also demonstrate with this little half moon that I made out of some cardboard and give you these explanations, and you can see it for yourself. The sun spots show over a 90-degree rotation in 9 hours. The three kings of Orion's belt do a 90-degree rotation as they go over at night. The half moon shows a 90-degree rotation as it goes over. This proves that it's not the moon that's tilted or moving differently, nor the stars, nor the sun. It's the axis of the earth. And I was already considering making this video because of the time of year that it is. This is the only couple months that you can see the three kings of Orion's belt all night as they go over. And then you can see the same effect in the half moon. You see that? The bottom half of the moon is illuminated. In the demonstration that I make in that video, I explained that it will rise with a vertical, at half moon, it will rise with a vertical light line on one side, and it will set with a horizontal light line on the other side. During the first half of the moon, when it's the left half illuminated, it sets on the other side as a top half. During the second half of the month, when it's the right half that's illuminated, it sets on the other horizon as a bottom half, like what you're seeing here. The only way I know this is because as a long-haul truck driver, I watched it all night. I would drive all night and sleep during the day. I don't know astrology. I have amazing powers of observation. I've got a strong urge to fly, but I've got nowhere to fly to. Little Pink Floyd. I do have amazing powers of observation. I'm referencing things that I've done the observations myself, and I've amassed an amount of evidence. The sun, moon, and stars, the light line of the sunrise as it goes across the earth, and the 2 a.m. sunrise. Those 5 references tell you the earth has tilted. And a couple years back, there were mainstream news stories from like Fox News telling you that the Inuit elders tell us that the sky has changed. Why would they reference the Inuit elders as some sort of authority on the subject matter when we've got NASA? Isn't that a good question? So some old guy in Alaska, an Alaskan Eskimo, says the sky has changed. Why don't we ask NASA? Wouldn't they know? If it had, wouldn't they tell us? Aren't they the authority on the subject matter? Why would Fox News air a segment referencing on the authority of the Inuit elders? They say the sky's... Some meth head named Reggie down at the park says some shit too. You gonna reference him? No. They're telling you something, and they're using that as their means to do it. And in this video, by Minutes of Horror, he shows you this. For about a half second, blips it across the screen, and then shows you a bunch of dipshits running their mouth, grasping at straws, trying to muddy the water and add subterfuge to the conversation, with a bunch of people say, look, the moon's rising in the west and setting in the east. They're trying to draw your attention away from the fact that, it's bottom half, isn't it? Yeah, that never used to be that way. The bottom half of the moon is lit. These are the phases of the moon that we all remember. Half moon on the left or half moon on the right. I asked this to a friend one time. He was talking about, oh, my girlfriend believes in the Mandela effect and all this other shit. And I told him, picture half moon. And he says, well, which half, right half or left half? I said, exactly. Is it right half, left half, or top half, bottom half? He looks at me like I'm insulting his intelligence and goes, Jeff, it's right half, left half, okay? Don't even continue with this line of questioning if you're going to insult my intelligence. Obviously, it's right half, left half, not top half and bottom half. Then, Minutes of Horror goes on to show a bunch of people running their pie hole about how the moon is rising in the east and setting in the west, while he shows you a few more examples right there. Bottom half is illuminated, but he doesn't talk about that. Here, bottom half is illuminated, but he doesn't talk about that. Here again, bottom half is illuminated. That's the feature that we're supposed to be looking at. Not talking about whether or not it's rising in the west. That's adding subterfuge. That's what a counterintelligence propaganda operation does. In order to muddy the waters and redirect the conversation, latch onto that narrative and steer it off the runway before it gets airborne and people figure out what they're looking at and going, wait a minute, it was right half, left half illuminated at half moon. It was never top half or bottom half. No, listen to these crackheads down in the park saying that it's rising in the east. Yeah, don't look at the side of the moon that's illuminated. Let's talk about whether or not it's rising in the east or the west. And that pissed me off. I've done the work. I've got the elixir sitting on the shelf, surrounded by 1,000 bottles of snake oil. I'm drowned out by a chorus of dipshits when I deliver my message, by a bunch of people talking like they know when they don't, because they want attention for clicks and views, asking their audience, what do you guys want me to make videos on? What would you like to see a video about? Whatever you want me to say, I'll say it, as long as it gets clicks and views. Link will be in the description. Link will be in the description, where I give you explanations and show you the evidence that what you're seeing in the sky tells us that the axis of the Earth has tilted. The title is 60 degrees. The axis of the Earth has tilted 60 degrees, creating a 120 degree appearance of rotation. And you know this by those sunspots. And he shows you the sunspots doing this on a regular basis. He's shown this feature more than once, where people take a photo of the sun in the morning and 8 or 9 hours later take another photo and you can see that the sunspots have rotated across the surface of the sun. And I demonstrate in this, sunspots move this way across the sun, and it takes 2 weeks. 1 week for them to move from the outer edge to the center, and another week for them to move from the center over that direction to the other edge. That's the rotation of the sun. The fact that we see this clockwise rotation is the rotation of the Earth, and it shows that the axis of the Earth has tilted, and you can see it in the sunspots throughout one day. The moon, he shows you the light line going across the Earth right here at an angle. And he showed us a bunch of videos where people say, look, the sun is rising at 2:30 a.m. What the hell's going on here?
In the northern hemisphere, the sun comes up earlier. We get that. That's not anything new. It just seems like it's coming up extra early this year. That's all. I noticed it again this morning myself.
And Mr. MB3 has a way of showing you things and talking it down. You heard it in his tone of voice. Well, it's just coming up a little early, that's all. It always does that at this time of year, but it does kind of seem a little extra early. He does the same thing with the sunspots. Pretends, through his wording, as if that's normal. That's just showing that the Earth rotates, that's all. If there's nothing to see here and it's just showing you that the Earth rotates, why are you featuring this multiple different times on your channel? He does it for those who have the ability to see and think and are comfortable enough with what it is they're being shown to be able to recognize it, and with his words, he softens it up and makes it sound like, hey, it's no big deal, it's just rising a little early, that's all. Yeah, those sunspots, they're just showing that the Earth rotates, yeah, that's all. And in fact, I've made a couple of videos on this. This one is titled Your Redemption Draws Near When These Signs in the Heavens Appear, where I cover a previous video that I had done titled Earth's Axis at 60 degrees, creating a 120-degree rotation in the sun, moon, and stars. So in this video, I'm going to cover what Mr. MB3 put out today, which gives us a fourth and fifth visual reference to prove that the Earth's axis has tilted. He is showing us the early sunrise as early as 2:45 a.m. Multiple people sending in these videos. And the shadow line of the Earth, the shadow line of the sun moving across the Earth at an angle. And then we're going to reference this video I made over a year ago titled Earth's Axis at 60 degrees, creating a 120-degree rotation in the sun, moon, and stars. So right now, due to the time of year, go ahead and take a look after the sun goes down at the three kings of Orion's belt, which rise about a half hour to an hour after sunset. Next month, they'll already be above the horizon as the sun sets. Correction, the three kings actually rise at 8 p.m. Mountain Time, and they're still above the horizon as the sun rises. Take a look at the three kings of Orion. You don't even have to stay up all night like I did. You can take a look right after sunset, and then take another look out there just before sunrise. And because right now, sun doesn't rise till later in the morning, and it sets pretty early in the evening, you won't even have to miss an hour of sleep to be able to see, oh yeah, they're vertical on that horizon. I'm going to get a nice long night of sleep and wake up and take a look before sunrise and see where they are in the morning. And you'll be able to see, oh yeah, they are horizontal on that other horizon. And half moon comes around twice a month. So you'll be able to see it with your own eyes in the three kings of Orion's belt and in the moon in the next month. Mr. MB3 has shown us multiple occasions when you can see that same 90-degree rotation in the sunspots within less than 12 hours. And he shows you the light line moving at an angle across the face of the Earth. And he's showing you multiple people sending him video of the sun rising as early as 2:30 a.m. Other people 3:30 and 4 a.m., but 2:30 a.m.? Yeah, that's not a seasonal change that's the usual. That's the change we're going through. That combined with plasma fire explains why they would run operations like the C19, mobilizing all of their military assets, establishing their worldwide coordination. That's what we saw during the C19, a worldwide coordinated operation, so that they would have systems in place. It's a dry run. And it's a good thing that the general population doesn't notice, and we have counterintelligence propagandists out there trying to muddy the water and add subterfuge to the conversation of people that are noticing the moon lid on the bottom and say, yeah, and it's rising in the east, and this other thing, and that over there, look over there too, and completely conflating all this bullshit with that which the people could latch onto and go, oh, that's what time it is, because if the people find out, that's it, martial law worldwide. We got to keep this shit under wraps. And I'm grateful for those who go to the extent that they do and the effectiveness of the job that they've done about keeping plasma fire under wraps for 7 years, along with the fact that the Earth's axis has rotated, the egg timer is up. The pole shift, people generally think of it as just the magnetics of the Earth reverse and flip, and it's not actually a physical thing that happens to the Earth. It's just a magnetic thing. When you can see what you can see in the sun, moon, stars, the shadow line of the Earth, and the rising sun at 2 a.m., it appears this pole reversal is going to be physical, not just electromagnetic. The cosmic egg timer is set for a certain period of time, and you can see the signs in the heaven. When you see these signs in the heaven, look up, your redemption draws nigh, and you will know the sign. And it said in the Bible that the earth shall wobble to and fro like a drunkard, and that's what we're seeing right now. Signs, when you see them, they weren't very specific about what these signs in the heaven would be. I think with all that we're seeing right now, it's pretty obvious. I've got electric light, and I've got second sight, and I've got amazing powers of observation. And that is how I know when I try to get through on the telephone to you, there'll be nobody home. Now I like some of the content that this channel, Minutes of Horror, puts out, but what he did with this was exact textbook formulaic counterintelligence propaganda operation regarding this phenomenon, which anyone can see. The bottom part is illuminated, but he doesn't say a single word about it. He flashes these two scenes up, almost like a subliminal embed, to slip it in for 4 seconds each, and then spends the next 12 minutes showing different people. One guy going, look, the moon is flashing, the moon is strobing, when it's obviously his autofocus going in and out of focus. Another person going, look, there's a shadow moving across the moon, maybe that's a portal. Other people going, look, the moon's rising in the east instead of rising in the west instead of rising in the east. And he finally caps it off with a guy wearing a cheese hat to sully and associate that idiocy with anyone who notices the one moon anomaly that he shows but doesn't say anything about. Watch how long he plays this for. This is the very first second that this appears. 5 minutes 44 seconds. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, gone. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, gone. So less than 10 seconds. Once again, 1 1000, 2 1000, 3, gone. That's it. He shows you what there is to see. Watch it again. It's so fast, it's like a subliminal embed, so you don't have time to really look and see what the message is there about this is not a phase of the moon. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3, gone. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3, gone. And for the rest of the time, he shows that image of the lower half illuminated multiple times, but never says a single word about it. Instead, he shows it with people going, look, the moon's rising in the west instead of the east. And look, there's a shadow going across the moon. For the next 12 minutes, he keeps showing you the same image of the bottom part illuminated. And to the viewer, that means, oh, I guess it's always that way, because he's talking about all this other stuff. But I guess that's normal, because he keeps showing that over and over and over and hasn't said a single word about it. This is how a counterintelligence operation works. There's something they don't want you to talk about, so they need to splinter that conversation. This is the part where he's showing someone going, look, the moon is strobing. Look, it's flashing. And it's obviously the autofocus going in and out. But they want to derail a conversation. This is the part where he's going, look, there's a shadow going across the moon. And so, in order to latch onto a subject, they have to mention it in order to grab onto it and derail it and send it in a different... Look, there's a shadow going across the moon. Look, you see that? Is that some sort of portal? No, it's probably just a cloud going in front of the moon. No, but it's like, maybe it has something to do with that one guy that said he saw a black spot in the middle of the moon. And it opened up into like a portal or a circle or something. So the whole time he's showing you the actual phenomenon of the moon being lit on the lower portion while talking about anything and everything but associating the shadow going across the moon, the flashing strobing moon, the moon rising in the east. And I think there's some other bullshit that he attaches to it too. Never does he say a word about that first frame where it showed this is not a phase of the moon. He flashed that up for less than 10 seconds, and never said a single word about how this is not a phase of the moon. Instead, he showed this phenomenon over and over and over and over with each one of these segments. And to cap it off, this guy. If you see something with the moon, you're this guy. Yeah. In order to associate anyone that sees some of the, oh, look, there's a shadow on the moon. Yeah, you can see it right there. Look, there's a shadow on the moon. And it moves too. He swears it's not a smudge on the camera. There's like a shadow on the moon, and you can see that it moves. And if you talk about the anomalies of the moon, you're this guy with the gap teeth and the cheese hat. Classic counterintelligence propaganda operation. Flashing the real anomaly that this is not a phase of the moon when it's lit on the bottom. Flashing that up for a couple of seconds, almost like a subliminal embed, and then attaching it to all of these other subjects. Oh, look, there's a shadow going across the moon. Oh, look, the moon is flashing. Oh, look, there's another shadow on the moon. Oh, look, the moon's rising in the west and setting in the east. Never saying a single word about the actual phenomenon that everyone can see and everyone knows with their own eyes. They don't have to rely on some douchebag's image. Look, I got this picture and I swear there's no smudge on the camera. That's a shadow on the moon. Completely detracting and distracting. Oh, look, the moon's flashing. Yeah, look, it's strobing and it's flashing. Can you believe it? Wow. All to distract from what people can see with their own eyes every single month. That the moon is illuminated on the bottom half and or on the top half in ways that it never has been before. Look, he's going to show you it's strobing again, it's flashing. Come on, show us the flash. But this is something seen with some other guy's camera. You can't reproduce this. What you can reproduce and see on a regular basis is that which he doesn't speak a single word about, but flashes it up at the very beginning of his 12-minute spiel in order to attach that real phenomenon of the bottom being illuminated with all that other bullshit that he's attaching to it for the next 12 minutes and never saying a single word about it. That is how you attach all this bullshit to that which you don't want to be spoken of or noticed or focused upon. Flashing it up on the screen for 5 seconds at the beginning of your smear campaign and then attaching all this other bullshit to it and finally capping it off with cheese hat guy. Anyone who has seen this will not listen to someone like me when I tell them what I could tell them about the moon. Because they associate me now with this douchebag and these other 5 things, none of which are provable or reproducible or understandable. Good job. Good job making sure that the people don't wake up. Because we need them to stay asleep. But for those of you who are awake, can you see how this is a textbook counterintelligence propaganda operation that he's doing on the phenomenon that can be seen in the night every month by anyone who remembers seeing the moon throughout their whole life and that it was never the bottom or the top? So now I'm going to get to the part where I show you the fake war. And I'm going to include all these links in the description and the pinned comment, including Managing a Controlled Apocalypse Part 1 and 2. You can see the downed TIE fighter with the stormtroopers leaning up to it in that thumbnail. May the farce be with you. The fake war that I'm about to show you pieces of. Clowns in Action. Multiple parts. Clowns in Action spooked 6 countries in 10 months. I'm going to include all these links in the description, including Samsung making history again, where Mercedes-Benz goes down the rabbit hole. I'll explain that in a moment. First, I'm just going to cover a quick couple of pieces where you can see the fake war being carried out.
And this is from the most recent three-ring circus. And if you look closely, you can see that they are made out of plywood in a very specific shape, but they are simply holding wooden dowels. And then you have this guy here with the colors that you normally associate with this kind of activity, possibly for hypnotic effect. Look closely, they're wooden. They're not even made out of metal. Pieces of wood. Plywood. You can especially see it right here. The depth of the plywood is like... And since the dumbass normies, or average man bear pig, or whatever you want to call them, won't wake up when they're using video game footage that frequently to spook the cattle and make them stampede towards each other, they're resorting to throwing in stormtroopers. Maybe they'll notice that. Here comes the stormtroopers. Bring on the stormtroopers. I'm going to block it till they bring on the stormtroopers. There we go. Here's some stormtroopers. Don't want to show you any other graphic video game images or anything. I blocked it until they showed just the stormtroopers.
There's one leaning up against the ship and one leaning up against the guardrail. 2 stormtroopers.
Too far again. Hold that thought. Zooming in on some stormtroopers. Okay, this time you know I'm not zoomed in too far or rewound too far, and we'll just watch some stormtroopers. This one here is supposed to be another one that's in flames. I'll bring that to your attention. There's his buddy. Yeah, he's still flaming. Flaming.
And this is on the mainstream news channel. It's just some YouTube posted something or some social media.
That's their official news network, the Small Hat News Network.
In Israel.
All right, and then Ilea says someone in chat mentioned...
Fell off the thing. Oh, here it is right here. So, Valery Zelensky, the commander-in-chief of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, has announced that his force this morning, in the direction of Kherson, Ukrainian forces skillfully shot down 4 Russian K-52ZS helicopters during an aerial defense mission. Take that, you fucking Russians! Not only is the ghost of Kiev chicken and juice when he's not doing interviews with Anderson Poopers, and the Americans on the ground fucking you up, taking you out, blowing up your tanks. Now your helicopters are all exploded. That's a helicopter being exploded. Of course it's a helicopter being exploded, you stupid fucking idiot. Look, it's got pictures and everything. We've even got video of it. Well, hold on a second, let me see if we got video of it. The guy probably took it down by now. Oh shit, no, it's still up. It's still up. Ah, sexy times. Oh shit. Oh, listen. I'm all for the war prawns, boys. Let's get it done. Whoa, shit. Pull up. Whoa, shit's getting real. Got him. Oh shit, take a little bit of damage. Oh no. I stand with Ukraine. So hard. Get him. Oh, fuck that. Take that, you Russian Nazi. Bam. Woo, sexy time. Get him again. He's another son of a bitch. This fucking racist Nazi Hitler Russians. Boom. Got him. Ooh. Looking good. All right. 2 down. Skillful. Oh, shit. It's going to get... Oh, that one got away. Oh, there's birds in the background, so you know it's real. Oh, no. He's like... Oh! In from behind. You know what I'm talking about, Don Lemon. Boom! He got a little bit of that Jeffrey Toobin. Take that, you fucking sons of bitches. Stop Russia. Hashtag war. Hashtag I stand with Russia. And you know it's real because it came from the commander-in-chief of the Ukrainian Armed Forces. Holy shit, that's insane. Wow. Okay, maybe those dudes did take down 7 tanks. Oh, hold on a second. What now? This is from Arma 3? Holy shit. They keep doing this. This is the second time that I know that they've done this. Holy shit. Arma 3? Holy shit. They keep doing this. This is the second time that I know that they've done this. Holy shit. First of all, damn. Damn.
The makers of that video game, Arma 3, ended up filing lawsuits for copyright infringement against the news corporations that were using their video game and broadcasting it multiple times as if it was wartime footage. Remember how I covered recently
The video game Arma 3 in a video that I titled Clowns in Action Spooked 6 Countries in 10 Months with One Video Game. And here you see that USA Today, the fact check viral clip shows Arma 3 video game, not war between Russia and Ukraine. And they declare this as false. They fact check it as false. And they say, yeah, we declared it false. That just shows video games, not the actual war. What do you mean? That was the claim. The claim is a video shows war between Russia and Ukraine. No, the claim that you would be fact-checking is the conspiracy theory that it shows a video game and not the war, or that it shows the war. And in the big headline, they say that they're fact-checking the conspiracy theory that it shows a video game and not the war. In small print, what they're fact-checking is the claim. Here's the small print. Here's the terms and conditions you did not read, Normie. So Normie goes, no, I saw USA Today debunk that. They fact-check it. It's false. No, dude, this is really just a fucking video game, not really war between. No, USA Today debunked it, and they declared it false. And in the doublespeak, take you to the bottom. So most people, it's been proven through, advertising agencies and whatnot, they only remember the first thing and the last thing that they saw and heard in a commercial or whatever. So as we scroll clear down to the bottom, our rating, false. See, they debunked it. It's been false. Based on our research, we rate false the claim that the video shows war between Russia and Ukraine. And in fact, the video shows footage from Arma 3, a military-style video game. Russia had not been invaded Ukraine yet. And if you go just a couple lines above that, they tell you that it's been used in September 2001. Indian fact-checking organization Boom debunked footage that claimed to show a Pakistani Air Force attack 4 months earlier. The agency France Presse debunked a video that claimed to show the conflict between Israel and Hamas. In both cases, the clips originated from Arma 3. Right here, they're telling you the latest one also originated from, the fact shows that, in fact, the video shows footage from Arma 3. People are claiming it's between Russia and Ukraine. Oh, go scroll clear back up to the top. The only thing the normie remembers is the first thing and the last thing they read. It's been debunked. Fact check. Yeah, that viral clip that shows video games and not the war between Ukraine, it was false. They debunked it. They fact checked it. Yahoo and USA Today.
And remember, you heard Salty Cracker say this is at least the second time he's done that. The commander-in-chief of the Ukrainian Armed Forces tweeted video game footage of Arma 3 on 2 different occasions and got caught both times. It was intentionally put out there. He didn't not want to get caught. He put that out there intentionally for those that will be able to see it. 99.999% of the population believes everything they see and they're told. But for those who can see that this is all theatrics, it's all an operation. Do you want to know what's really going on? Here, let me show you the axis of the Earth that's tilted and all the ways that you can see that. And now you'll understand why we had to fake a demic in order to create a dry run of worldwide lockdown, because pretty soon we might have to do the real thing. And this is also why, once you see the axis of the Earth tilted, we might have to fake a few wars, so that when shit really starts popping off, we can hold it back a little longer and tell people, oh yeah, that stuff that's happening over there, that fire under that parking lot, collapsing that parking lot, it must be those fucking Ruskies. By faking a world war, we could cover the things that are going to be happening around the world under the guise of war and keep people from recognizing what's really going on just a little bit longer and keep those millions of dumbfounded dipshits at bay. One great big festering neon distraction. I've a suggestion. It's to keep you all occupied. And so once you know the axis of the Earth is tilted from those 5 different angles where you can see it, then you'll be able to understand why we might fake a war and fake a demic and fake an alien invasion if we have to. Anything to keep them distracted and occupied while this is happening, because if the general public catches wind of plasma fire, of the axis of the Earth tilting, which probably have something to do with one another, like that celestial body, that class 2 gas giant that's pulling on the magnetic pull of the Earth, helping to tilt us and tip us over sideways. Maybe it's got a magnetic field that's interacting with our own magnetic field, and that's what's creating the plasma fires. Certainly, almost certainly, the axis of the Earth tilting has some sort of correlation with the plasma fire. It's not coincidence that they're both happening at the same time. And when you recognize something of that magnitude that's going on, it's understandable why all the countries around the world would agree to cooperate in a worldwide operation to contain their own people, to put them under martial law, to lock them down, to demonstrate their willingness and ability to control their own people, to do a dry run for when we really gotta go full throttle and lock them down because shit's getting real crazy. So let's do a dry run. Worldwide martial law light. With a theatrical demic. And then we'll do a theatrical war. And we might have to follow it up with a theatrical alien invasion, anything to keep these cattle from stampeding. And in the meantime, we'll run some counterintelligence propaganda operations, so the people that have noticed, wait a minute, the moon's lit on the bottom? It's never been like that before. It was always right half or left half, not bottom or top. We'll run some propaganda campaigns to latch onto that narrative and drive it in 5 different directions about a shadow on the moon rising in the west and setting in the east, the moon flashing and strobing when it's just the autofocus. And then we'll put a cheese hat guy in the video, throw him into the mix to associate anyone who notices the moon with this dumbass retard over here, in order to drive the narrative away from people latching onto and discussing that, lest you be that cheesehead dipshit.
I'm gonna make this one quick as I can anyway, because I was just gonna include 2 links in the description, one to a Mercedes-Benz commercial and one to a LQ8000 plasma screen. So we'll start out with the easiest, most obvious stuff. Then I gotta get back to some dirt work I've been doing. Mercedes-Benz has acknowledged the moon on its back. Where's my rock? In a commercial where the narrative is Alice in Wonderland, and a lady's driving down a country road with her kid in the back listening to an Alice in Wonderland, and it's talking about curiouser and curiouser, Alice went further down the rabbit hole. And then it says something else, and I've seen a cat without a grin, but a grin without a cat? And then it shows the moon up in the sky, only a sliver, not a half moon, but a sliver in the smiley face position. It's never been in the smiley face position in all of your life, or my life, or anyone's life, as far as we know, unless this has all been done before.
So that was a video that I made 5 years ago, over 5 years ago. And in the description, there's that Mercedes-Benz Alice in Wonderland video. And this video is private. Why did they shift that video to private? Mercedes-Benz put that video on private because it was a limited time offer. They call it a dangle or a limited hangout. It was there as a calling card for those who can see what they're seeing up there in the sky to be able to see it in a Mercedes-Benz commercial and go, thank God I'm not the only one. Thank God someone else can see it. And they're associating it with Alice in Wonderland. Further down the rabbit hole she goes, curiouser and curiouser. I've seen a cat without a grin, but a grin without a cat? And then they pan the camera up to show you the smiley face moon that looks like the Cheshire Cat's grin. That was a communication to those with eyes to see. That we see it too. You're not alone. We're on top of it. We're even incorporating it into our commercials. That's what time it is. I showed you the phases of the moon, 1 year of the moon time lapse 13 years ago. That's what time it is. All of this stuff adds up and comes together and culminates from plasma fire to the 5 different ways that you can see the axis of the earth is tilted. Those correlate with the fake demic and the fake war and the upcoming fake invasion if they choose to go that route. We're coming up on December 21st, when the axis of the earth is naturally tilted, its furthest direction that it tilts before it starts going back the other direction. December 21st is the shortest day of the year, the solstice. So there's a good chance that if we make it past the solstice, things might start to die back down a little bit. But they're getting ready for those Deagel numbers to come into effect because they've been able to calculate this and graph it out. How far is the earth tilting each year? The wobble of the earth keeps wobbling back and forth, but the overall tilt of that wobble as it goes back and forth gets further and further in that direction as this celestial body pulls on our magnetic field, tilting the earth. And they've calculated about 2025, the Deagel report numbers show, populations are going to be diminished, greatly diminished. And so there's a reason things are ramping up. Everyone's on the edge of their seat expecting Project Bluebeam. Everyone now knows that we're on the precipice of something that's going to change reality in such a way that our world is hardly recognizable, nothing like it used to be. Because this isn't a situation we can talk our way out of. Come on, guys, if we can all just come together and get along, we could make a beautiful world if we all just had the right mindset and peace on earth. And if we all united, then this can be steered in some other direction. No, the angle of the axis of the earth shows that this is non-negotiable. It's going to happen. There is no solution based on if we all just come to the right state of mind and act and behave a certain way. No, this is not something you can negotiate your way out of. It's happening.
Now he's pushing back. Or maybe the entire world just found out something. Maybe all of the leaders found out that the world is going to end in a dramatic end scene with an asteroid hitting Earth, and there's only going to be certain places that the scientists say that are livable. And we're going through a giant debris field of a Class 2 gas giant, and most places are going to be decimated. So the places that aren't decimated, they need to go grab that land. Who knows? Hypotheticals, right?
You notice the shape of that mushroom cloud is a clown's head, right? And that they're actually dropping the bombs into your brain through the cell phone, right? And so, I noticed some people covered the Economist magazine cover for 2024. It just came out a few days ago, and I saw an hourglass on there, and all of the sand was in the top of the hourglass. Like the hourglass had just gotten turned over. The Great Reset. All the sand, because it had just gotten turned back over again, was in the top of the hourglass. This that you're seeing right here is the beginning of a music video by Imagine Dragons called Eyes Closed, and it shows the glass shattering, a common theme of the reset, J-Dreamer says it represents that highest, hardest glass ceiling, or the firmament. And if we are at that point, on a cyclical reset, the great egg timer is up, then it would make sense that God's army is here for the holy harvest. They come along with that Planet X Nibiru, that pole shift. If they don't harvest now, they don't get to harvest. And so like in the movie Jupiter Ascending, a highly advanced Type 1 civilization comes along and harvests the consciousness that it has developed and grown out of its animalistic stages and demonstrates that it is compatible with a Type 1 civilization. That's how they grow, that's how they expand. Right before they empty the petri dish in the Great Cataclysmic Reset, and then reseed the petri dish before they take off again, and then they let it grow for a few generations until they come back around again.